All right, let's talk about Anki. If you've ever given it a shot, you know the deal. It's supposed to be this super powerful tool for memorizing anything and everything. But for a lot of us, that power just turns into a total nightmare, right? You're staring at this giant mountain of daily reviews, you feel completely buried, and you're probably thinking, am I even doing this right? Well, today we are going to fix that. We're going to take your Anki practice from something that stresses you out to a smooth, powerful engine for learning. So, first things first, I really want this to sink in. If you felt that Anki overload, you are not alone. It is not your fault. The source material for this whole explainer just nails it with this quote. Feeling overwhelmed is a totally normal, even predictable result of using a super advanced tool without the right game plan. Seriously, you haven't failed. You just never got the proper instruction manual. Until now.
So, does this look familiar? I bet it does. That moment you open up the app and just boom, hundreds, maybe even thousands of cards are just staring you down. That's the exact feeling, the exact problem we're tackling today. We're going to pull this system apart piece by piece so you can finally take control and make Anki your tool instead of the other way around.
Now, the solution to that review monster, it's not some complicated setting buried deep in the options menu. It's not a secret add-on you have to find. Nope. It all starts with one single powerful shift in how you think about the tool. This is the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about. And honestly, if you get this one thing right, you're already halfway there.
And here it is, the cardinal rule. You have to learn the material before you try to memorize it with Anki. Let me say that again because it's that important. Anki is not a learning tool. It's a retention tool. Its only job is to stop you from forgetting stuff you already truly get. Trying to use it to learn new things from scratch, it's like trying to paint the walls of a house before you've even laid the foundation. It just doesn't work, and you end up with a huge mess.
So why is breaking this rule so bad? Well, here's the really sneaky part. It creates what experts call an illusion of knowledge. You know that feeling? You make a flashcard and you're like, yeah, I'm learning. It feels super productive. But if you didn't actually understand the concept first, all you're doing is teaching your brain a simple party trick to match a specific set of words on the front of the card to another specific set of words on the back. That's not real knowledge. It's just pattern matching. And it's totally useless when you need to apply that info in the real world.
Okay, so you've committed to the cardinal rule. You're learning stuff before you put it into Anki. Awesome. What's next? Well, now we have to make good flashcards. And the secret here is to think small, really small. We're going to talk about how to make what are called atomic flashcards.
This brings us to a huge concept, the minimum information principle. And the rule is dead simple. Every single card you make should ask for exactly one thing. Not a list of things, not a whole paragraph, not a concept with 3 different parts, just one thing. And trust me, this isn't just about being neat. It's a brain thing. It makes your reviews lightning fast, way more satisfying, and it actually helps Anki's algorithm do its job properly.
And this slide shows you exactly what I mean. Take a look at the bad card on the left. The question is, describe Python. I mean, where do you even start? The answer is this giant wall of text. It's a nightmare to review, impossible to grade yourself on, and it just grinds your session to a halt. Now look at the right. This is how you do it. You take that one monster concept and you break it into tiny atomic pieces. Who designed Python? Boom. One simple fact. You could probably make 5 or 6 of these good cards from that one bad one, and reviewing each one would take, what, a second? Think of this as your quick and dirty guide to avoiding the most common card-making traps. Got a vague question? Force yourself to be more specific. What exactly are you asking? Got a card that asks you to list a bunch of stuff? Nope. Break it up. Make one card for each item on the list. And watch out for those simple yes-no questions. They don't really test your knowledge. Rephrase it so you have to recall the actual important piece of information. The goal? Every single time is to make it crystal clear what's being asked, so your brain doesn't have to work to figure out the question. So Anki gives you a few different kinds of cards to work with. The basic Q&A is going to be your workhorse. It's the best for most things because it forces you to write a really good, specific question. Then you've got Cloze, the fill-in-the-blank one. This can be great for things like exact definitions or steps in a process, but you have to be careful with it because it's really easy to end up just memorizing the shape of the sentence instead of the actual info. And finally, image occlusion. If you're learning anything visual, anatomy, maps, diagrams, this thing is an absolute game changer. Indispensable.
All right, so making great cards is absolutely crucial, but that's only half the battle. Now we need to zoom out a bit. It's not just about the individual cards, it's about building a system around them that you can actually stick with for the long haul.
How you organize everything is just as important as how you write the cards themselves. Okay, this next one might go against how a lot of people use Anki, but the evidence is really clear on this. Stop making tons of little decks for every single topic. The much better way to do it is to have one big parent deck for a subject, like say, history, and then use tags to organize the cards inside it. So why is this so much better? It forces something called interleaved practice. Basically, Anki mixes up all the topics together. It feels a little harder when you're doing it, for sure. But the science is crystal clear. This method builds way stronger and more flexible memories. So what does this look like in practice? Here is a simple but super effective workflow. The big takeaway is this: do not just read a sentence and immediately make a card. That's a recipe for disaster. Instead, first, just skim the whole chapter or article. Get the lay of the land. Second, read it actively. That means you read a paragraph or a section, then you close the book, and you try to explain the main points out loud from memory. Then, and only then, once you get the big picture, do you go back and create those nice atomic flashcards. See? Making cards is the last step, not the first.
Now, this right here, this is the secret weapon for never ever feeling overwhelmed by Anki again. Forget all the fancy settings for a second. Your entire future workload, that big scary number of reviews, comes down to one and only one thing: how many brand new cards you add each day. That's it. That's the whole game.
So what's the math look like? It's this simple ratio, 10 to 1. I want you to burn this number into your memory, 10 to 1. This is the key that unlocks a sustainable, predictable Anki practice.
So what in the world does that ratio mean? It's a rule of thumb, but it's a really good one. For every one new card you add per day, you can expect to do about 10 reviews for it over the long haul. So think about it. If you decide to add 20 new cards a day, that's totally cool. But you need to understand that you're basically signing a contract with your future self to do about 200 reviews times every single day. Knowing this lets you make a conscious choice. You can look at your schedule and decide, okay, how many reviews can I realistically handle? And then work backwards to set your new card limit. You are in control.
So let's recap. You're following the cardinal rule, you're making beautiful atomic cards, you've built a sustainable system for yourself. What's the payoff for all this work? Well, this is where the magic happens. You go from that feeling of dread and struggle to a state of almost effortless recall. So let's put it all together with the final key practices to make this a reality. All right, here is your practical checklist for long-term success. Number 1, do your reviews every day. This is the one thing you can't skip. The whole algorithm falls apart if you do. 2, be the boss of your new cards. If you feel overwhelmed, the first thing you do is set that new card limit to 0. No shame in that. Let yourself catch up. 3, pay attention to your leeches. Those are the cards you fail over and over. They're not a sign of failure, they're a signal. They're telling you that either the card is written badly or you don't really understand the concept. Go fix it. And finally, don't chase a 100% score. The sweet spot for efficiency is getting 80 to 90% of your reviews right. Aiming for perfection is just a waste of time. And really, this is what it all comes down to. When you apply these ideas, memory stops being this fuzzy, random thing that you just hope works. You're not crossing your fingers and hoping you'll remember something for the test. You're building a system to guarantee it. And as the source material so perfectly puts it, you transform memory from something that fails you into a reliable, powerful tool. It becomes a skill, something you can control, a deliberate choice. And that is true mastery.